So today I want to talk about the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution. It's usually called the Search and Seizure Amendment. And it says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. This amendment has its history going back to Britain and a famous case called the Semaines case. I may not be saying that right. It's spelled Semayne. According to lawdictionaries.org, the Semaine case resulted in a phrase we've heard before, that every man's house is his castle, referring that even the king didn't have the right to do unauthorized searches in his subjects' home. In America, in the colonial days, search and seizure came to the forefront with James Otis and the writs of assistance. The writs of assistance were Britain's way of validating their searches of ships that they believed had contraband cargo on it back in the smuggling days. James Otis took this to court and actually lost, but John Adams said later that this legal battle was one of the main sparks that started the American Revolution. This amendment was introduced with the other slate of amendments for what we call today the Bill of Rights in 1789. It was passed by Congress on September 25th, 1789, and ratified December 15th, 1791. The 14th Amendment was used in conjunction with the Fourth Amendment to incorporate this amendment to the states in 1961, primarily through Mapp versus Ohio, which we will talk about in a second. The truth is that as far as search and seizure goes today, many times the police can act without a warrant. Generally, when things are in one of three factors, if there is consent to search, and that was given in Davis versus the U.S., 1946, if there is probable cause to search, that was determined in Payton versus New York in 1973. Or if there is something in plain view, that was determined in Maryland versus Macon in 1985. The police are also allowed to stop and search a person, or at least ask probing questions or brief inquiries, according to Terry versus Ohio in 1968, Minnesota versus Dick, 1999. Schools are also allowed, much to the chagrin of some of my students, to search lockers, backpacks, and anyone under their authority. And the basis for this decision was New Jersey versus TLO in 1985. Warrants are needed for things like non-emergency situations, particularly of a house or of any other kind of dwelling, an office, say, that is not an emergency and that there's proper time allowed for a warrant to be served. Mapp versus Ohio established the exclusionary rule, which says that evidence obtained illegally under the Fourth Amendment could not be used as evidence or submitted as evidence in a court case. Overall, the amendment is there to protect citizens from overreach from people or from the government from searching your private dwelling and your private possessions. This amendment is under question even more today with things like surveillance cameras being just about everywhere, and also the use of drones. And so in the future, I think we'll see a lot more Fourth Amendment cases than even the numerous ones that have been presented so far. Thank you.